Okay, so this is going to be your lesson for the day. You're going to want to log into your Google Classroom. So right now I have 5th hour, but 3rd hour is available, so a 7th hour and 4th hour, of course. So what you're going to do is go to this first document here. You're going to open it up, and you're going to see devising and using research questions. So now that we have our topic, now that we have done a little bit of research, we can start planning our paper. But before we do that, we have to come up with, what are we going to research? So if you take a look here, what is a research question? Well, we need to know what it is first before we write a few of them. So it says research questions help writers focus their investigation of a topic for an informational text. A research question is an overarching question that steers the research and writing of an essay. So this is basically what you're going to be focusing on. These questions are going to become the topics of your body paragraphs. These questions should, number 1, not be easily answered. There are no simple answers for these questions. It takes a lot of facts and explanation to answer an inquiry question, so you need to be doing some research. Number 2, be analytical in nature. We need to explain why and how. And this is when writers gather information and analyze in order to help the reader understand what the topic is all about. And then lastly, they need to be open-ended. Your questions shouldn't be answered with yes or no answers. So they need to be answers that you explain. Open-ended questions can't be answered with simple facts because they are complex. Require research and thinking to craft an adequate response. All right, so now that you kind of have some idea about what a research question is, we can look at some samples here. So here's one on Hurricane Katrina. We have 3. Today you're going to also write 3 because, again, like I said, these are going to be your 3 body paragraphs. Now the first one here that this writer has created says, what were the key moments? That was one of our terms from this unit that we talked about with our notes. What were the key moments before, during, and after this natural disaster, because we're talking about Hurricane Katrina. But you could say, what were the key moments before, during, and after this event? And then we want to follow up. Why were they key? Why were they important? So if I were a 7th grade student, this might be a good starting point. And it's always okay to use someone else's suggestion. Because again, this is a different topic. You're not writing on Hurricane Katrina. You're writing about your topic. Number 2, this question is, are these events linked? So the events that were before, during, and after, were they linked? If so, how? And then number 3, what kinds of eyewitness accounts would be helpful to bringing this disaster to life? Remember we talked about the paragraph that had lots of description? We want to make it so that our reader is able to see in their mind that image. We want to be using sensory details. So how do we do that? We bring in eyewitness accounts. This is your anecdotal evidence. So those are some examples of what your questions could be like. Now, here are mine. My topic is Pearl Harbor. You're going to have to write your 3 questions here. On your document, it's going to be blank. So it says on the Google Doc, devise 2 to 3 research questions. I want you to focus on 3 because you're going to have 3 body paragraphs. Devise 2 to 3 research questions about your historical event. Write your research questions below. These are the questions that will drive your essay. So look, I did the same thing as the person above. What were the key moments before, during, and after the attack on Pearl Harbor? Why were they important or key moments? I highly suggest that you make this one of your questions because remember, we're writing in the chronological structure. So this is maybe one that everyone should include. Hint, hint. Now, number 2. I wanted to know how other countries reacted to this attack. So my question is, how did other countries react to this attack? Now, this is going to be my 2nd body paragraph. And my 3rd question, look here, I'm borrowing the one from above. What kinds of eyewitness interviews, and again, this is anecdotal evidence, are available to create imagery for the reader. I also suggest that maybe you include this as your third body paragraph, your third research question. So you're going to get time to do this portion in your Google document. Once you're done with those, you're going to move on and scroll towards the next page, and it says, what is an informational question? Information questions are fact-based questions at the lowest level of question asking. The answers to these questions help answer the research question. So these are those where, when, who, what, and how questions. If I were you, I would use some of these to help you. They're already there for you. Why not use them? So again, here are some samples. Now you're going to have your research question. Here was that first one. What were the key moments before, during, and after this natural disaster? Why were they key? All right, here are my information questions. These are the questions that I'm going to research, and eventually they'll go into my paragraphs. So notice here, the when, the W questions, the how words. When did the storm hit? Did people know it was coming? When, where, and why did the storm flood the city? And so on and so forth. Don't forget, you're using those W and H words. Who, what, where, when, how. And some of you might even use why. So what you have to do, this is your second part of the assignment. It says read over all your prior knowledge. That was that homework that you had to do at the bottom of your brainstorming assignment. Next, write down all the information questions you think you need to answer in order to write a strong essay that fully responds to your research questions. Information questions should be quite specific, like the questions above. So what you're going to do, just like I've done here, is right where it says research question 1, and there's a colon here, you're going to copy and paste your research question that you came up with above here, and you're going to type it or paste it here. Then you need to come up with your information. Sorry about that. So now what you're going to do is include those who, what, when, where, why, how questions. When did Pearl Harbor attack? Because I am focusing on what happened before, during, and after. So when did it happen? Why did the Japanese attack? Who was involved? How did the Japanese attack? Where? So you're using those questions and you're breaking it down. Here's my research question number 2. How did other countries react to this attack? Now you see, I have all of these places here where I can write more information, but I only used 4. I want you to at least use 4 of these because these will then become your sentences in your paragraph. All right? And then my last question, you see I haven't even started that yet. So what kinds of eyewitness interviews? So your last step is research question number 3. You're going to come up with those same kinds of questions. And then after that, your job is to answer those questions with research. If you get that far, don't forget to bookmark your websites or jot down the websites so that you can go back to them when we start the Works Cited page. But please follow directions, work very hard so that Friday and Monday we can move on to the next part of our writing. Hope you have a good day. Bye.